can any pending free agents make a case over the final 6 weeks on why they should get paid, why they should stay here, why they are a top player on this team?
Yeah, it's probably more important to the guys on this list than I mean, since we don't think this team's going to the playoffs, there's a lot of guys on here who need to take full advantage of these last 6 games to show whether they should be back with the Saints or gain some attention around the rest of the league. And we were just talking about Chase Young, but I mean, he's the one that stands out here. This was supposed to be a prove-it season for him. If he really blew up this year, I mean, we're talking about the kind of guy who could have flirted with $100 million contract. And, you know, last year he had to settle for a 1 year and $10 million plus incentives. But he stayed healthy. He strung a couple of sacks together in the last 2 games. I mean, he's the kind of guy who, if he gets 5 sacks over the last 6 weeks, he could double the size of his contract in free agency. So a 6-week sample size is maybe never meant more to a player heading into free agency. Maybe Jordan Love last year. I think he went to $55 million with a 6-game swing.
Definitely.
So I won't overstate that.
Yeah,
but he's number one on this list.
I'm waiting for him to kind of just like tear it up and make someone turn the TV off. Like, he just needs to like just light it up big time. And we haven't seen that yet. Like, not at all. I don't know what his contract's going to look like. It's not going to be huge. Like, you could get him back on a 1-year deal. Like, if it keeps going kind of the way it has, I don't know what the competition will be for him. I don't know what the market will look like for him. But right now, like, it feels like it'll probably be a somewhat soft market. Now, granted, you're talking about a guy with a name, so like, he's going to get paid more than somebody else with the same exact stats just because of who he was. But he's got to really show something to get paid. Like, and I don't think he's going to get paid this offseason. Like,
yeah, I tend to agree, but I think there were question marks about Chase Young, obviously, like that effort question that chased him. Why isn't he more productive? Why isn't he more consistent? But obviously the major question mark was his health. And it's pretty remarkable that he hasn't on a team where nobody has stayed healthy. Chase Young has stayed healthy. If he puts a 17-game season together and he gets back to 7-8 sacks, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets paid the speculative money, because every team but the Saints is swimming in cap space right now. So he's really interesting for that reason.
What does that look like?
If he has his best stretch of the season over the last 6 games, not to tear it up, oh my God, who is this beast? But, you know, a highlight every week like the one where he runs on the field and it's like, oh, Chase Young's still out there making plays. Oh, Chase Young played 17 games. Oh, Chase Young's still only 25 years old. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him flirt with, you know, multi-years and $18 million a year. I wouldn't, you know,
$18 million a year.
I wouldn't be shocked. We just saw Jonathan Greenard have the first good year of his career and make over $20 million a year. Like, people are starving for it.
What did he have last year, though?
Jonathan Greenard?
Yeah, what were his stats last year?
He used to get hurt. He used to be hurt. He finally had his breakout year for the Texans with 12.5 sacks. But I mean,
I don't think Chase Young can get 5 sacks and get paid like that.
No, you're right. He can't finish with 5. But what does he have right now?
I think he played every game last season, didn't he?
Yeah.
No, he missed. I think he missed 1 game last year. Maybe it was 2 because he got traded. I don't know like how the bye week worked, but like he was healthy. He didn't miss time last year. Like, he had like 7.5 sacks,
and he still got a deal worth up to $13 million. Yeah. So and that was because he needed neck surgery.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Like,
but I don't think he's going to go out and get 3 years.
Oh no.
$50 million or whatever, like whatever we're talking about here. Like, I don't think that exists for him. I don't know. Like, I think he's got to play a lot better. I think
he's got to play better. I mean, it's got to be the best 6-week stretch of his season, no question. But yeah,
I kind of feel like you're maybe getting him back like 2 years, $25 million.
He gets more next year than he got this year.
I don't know
already because there's no neck surgery.
He has 3 sacks.
Yeah. Well, he has more than that, right?
3, I think it's 3.5.
Is it? Yeah. 3.5. Yeah.
The thing with Chase Young, though, the point that you brought up, he has been available, and coming out of camp, we were like, oh, you just have to wait and see for the game once they took the leash off him, because in camp he was just so dominant just throughout the whole time. But throughout the season, man, I mean, he's made some splash plays at points, but it's never been consistent enough to say, oh, well, we got to key off of Chase Young. We got to make sure, you know, we chip him and all different things like that, because he hasn't consistently shown that
No, look, it has to look. I'm me flirting with those numbers. It has to look better. And it's like if the last 6 weeks look just like the beginning of this season, then
it's got to look better.
Yeah.
I mean, he could get some money. I don't think he's getting that money from a good team. Like, I could see a bad team that has to pay someone to try to fill a hole to save the GM's job or whatever. Like, and it's like, oh, this is the best option. And I just don't think you're getting that money from a good team. Like, yeah, you could get it from like the Patriots maybe, because like Gerard Mayo feels like he's going to get fired if he doesn't do anything and nobody else wants to go there. But I just don't. It's got to be significantly more. I mean, the health part of it does help. I mean, obviously that's why he got a 1-year deal, but you have to get healthy and match your numbers, I think, or be better. And he got healthy, and it's just kind of is what it is right now.
Every other name on this list feels like a Saints decision first and foremost to me. I mean, maybe Peyton Turner is the kind of guy another team could be like, does he just need a change of scenery? Is this a Trey Hendrickson, Zach Bond situation? So maybe somebody would flirt with Peyton Turner. He's finally healthy for a season. I was kind of hoping we'd see more production out of him once he finally got a consistent opportunity to be on the field. So I don't think he would break the bank. Juwan Johnson, another fascinating one. I mean, what could he prove over the 6 games if this team doesn't know who he is by now? They've had him here for so long. Lucas Patrick, I think, has been a good contributor. Will Harris is starting to play some of his best football. Valdez Scantling has obviously stood out. Willie Gay's been valuable. I feel like those are guys who are trying to cement their case to come back on this team, because I don't feel like any of those other guys would price themselves out of New Orleans.
I could see someone trying to take Willie Gay as a starter maybe. Like just depending on what the market looks like for linebackers. And I can see some, there's always competition on receivers, and Valdez Scantling has gotten paid before, and I think he's playing well here. Like, someone could be like, well, that's a guy we want, and the Saints might be like, well, we're not going to pay more than this. And I could see some competition there. Juwan Johnson's kind of interesting to me. I don't know what to expect from his market. I don't think you pay him what you paid him last time again.
Right. Nope. He got 2 years, $12 million last time.
I'm not paying that. So I don't know. That one's going to be really interesting.
Feels like Traquan Smith-ish. Like, he came back again, I think 2 more times for less money after the first. And still valued, but just like, valued only as a complimentary piece. One name that's not on this list is Paulson Adebo. And to go back to you guys both listing corners as the most important position group on this team, the play of Alontae Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry could affect their need to bring Paulson Adebo back.
Really good point.
Yeah.
Really good point.
Will Harris, he's a name on this list who, coming into the season, we were like, all right, they have Will Harris on this team. But during training camp, when people were getting hurt, he was filling in, showing that he was versatile in different spots. First game, gets a pick, to start off basically the defensive season, goes on IR, comes back. And when he came back, I felt like his spark that he brought to the defense, kind of after coming off of those weeks of just not being able to tackle, not being able to really bow up on anybody. Of course, the Rizzy effect is involved in that, but, I mean, it's Tyler Algier. I don't know. I think that's one of the most unsung plays of the season.
That's a good point.
Tyler Algier was running all over the Saints when the Saints went to Atlanta. He comes here. Will Harris says, peekaboo, bam, pops him and lays him out. So I don't know if that's enough to, keep him on the roster going forward, but he really is a guy that I think, he pushed Jonathan Abram out of the building in a certain sense of speaking. Of course, there were different things like his special teams ability and things like that, but I like Will Harris. I like what he brings to this team.
Really good point. Obviously, Jordan Howden, he's got a couple of takeaways in his career, right? Does he have 1 or 2? But has Jordan Howden ever made you notice him as much as Will Harris did on that one play?
For the wrong reason.
I still think they need to get one, though. I would probably try to draft someone. Like, they painted their picture what the defense was supposed to be, and it's kind of been a whacked-out mural a little bit. So I would go into the offseason looking to draft a safety for sure.
For sure.
1 forced fumble last year and 1 interception this year for Howden.